I called my ex as soon as harvest time arrived, but he hung up immediately. Samuel replied to my message instantly. No reunion, don't look for me. Don't think I don't know you want to get back together just to borrow my bodyguards to husk your corn again. I blinked, sitting on the field ridge, reading the message 3 times. Finally, I got up and went back to husking corn. I couldn't figure it out. Samuel had been gullible for 3 years, so why had he suddenly uncovered the truth?
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
I stared at those 2 messages, stunned for a long time. Samuel didn't send any more messages, and I didn't reply. Uncle 2 leaned over to ask me, Judy, isn't your gangster boyfriend helping you husk corn this year? I stood up, brushing the dry grass off my pants. Uncle, those are bodyguards. We live in a society governed by law, not gangsters. Tell your son to buy you a phone and watch legal reports sometime, you country bumpkin. I went back to husking corn, hearing Uncle 2 spit quietly behind me. Pa, just got dumped by some rich guy after he got tired of playing? Putting on airs. A corn leaf sliced my hand, the sharp pain making me gasp. Grandma rushed over at the noise. Let me see. I told you to wear gloves. I lightly sucked the cut on my palm, spitting out dirt. Go back. Grandpa will fuss if no one watches him soon. Before Grandma could answer, the sound of a 4-wheel tractor rumbled nearby. I froze, staring into the distance. Now I understood why Uncle 2 called Samuel a gangster. He sat in front of the tractor, followed by a dozen imposing black-clad bodyguards. Sometimes your soulmate doesn't arrive on a rainbow cloud. He might show up on a tractor. Uncle Bull parked the tractor at the field edge, and Samuel and I stared at each other across the ridge. After a long while, he frowned and walked up to me. Reunion is out of the question. I was just passing by. I was bored at home, out for a stroll. I said, oh. So the young master from the capital brought a dozen bodyguards thousands of miles for a casual walk. Quite distinctive. He frowned, looking at my injured hand. Judy, when will your family stop farming this lousy land? I turned back to husk corn without a word. Samuel didn't seem to mind. His bodyguards deftly shed their black suit jackets, tossed them on a corn pile, and got to work. Early October, the midday sun was still scorching, and many bodyguards shed their white dress shirts too. As I worked, my eyes got drawn away. Wow, pecs that big? Abs that look rock hard. A dark face suddenly appeared between 2 corn stalks, startling me. Samuel wore white gloves, but his expression was stormy. Put them back on. He complained loudly, watching the bodyguards pull their shirts back on, then glared at me, teeth clenched. Morally corrupt. Ruining the cityscape. Shameless. A bodyguard muttered quietly. What cityscape? We're not in the city. Before I could speak, Samuel exploded. Fine. Ruining the village's cape then. So much land, so many women working. Who are you showing off for? Steal someone's wife with those muscles. You ready to take responsibility? His yelling gave me a headache. I moved to another section to work. But he seemed determined to oppose me, stubbornly following to husk corn directly across the ridge from me. I sighed, watching the young master who'd only managed 3 ears in half an hour. I'll pay your bodyguards wages. You don't need to stay. It's sunny. Samuel had fair skin. After hours under the fierce sun, his face was flushed red. Don't want your pennies. Just because you care doesn't mean I'll reunite easily. He insisted on staying, so I stopped arguing. Many hands make light work. Soon, a small half of the field was done. Seeing the sun high, I called everyone home for lunch. I pulled out my phone and saw Grandma hadn't replied to my message. But the group of over 10 was already following me home. Before I opened our courtyard gate, the neighbor's gate swung open. Judy, back already? I paused, looking at the man greeting me. Eve, you're back too? He nodded. Came home to husk corn. Samuel leaned close, whispering sarcastically in my ear. Eve? Doesn't sound like a good name. Pretentious. Grandma came out hearing the commotion. Judy's back? Grandpa dirted his clothes again. I had to rush back. She stopped, seeing the large group. Grandma quickly pulled me aside. Why didn't you tell me about so many people? It's fine. I'll take them to town for noodles. I turned back, about to tell Samuel there was no lunch ready, but he'd already darted into my house. Grandpa sat shirtless in the yard sunbathing. Samuel beamed brightly. Grandpa, long time no see. Grandpa slowly turned his head, smiling back. Yas here? Your dad's still wetting the bed. Samuel's smile froze. I mentally face-bombed, quickly tugging his arm. Let's go, time to eat. Samuel trailed behind me. Town was far, so I went to borrow Uncle Bull's tractor. Uncle Bull's tractor was used for hauling pigs years ago, thoroughly cleaned now, but Samuel's sensitive nose wrinkled. I'm not riding that. I nodded. Then no lunch for you. Samuel glared furiously. Judy, is this how you ask for reconciliation? Before, you waited until after using me to show your true colors. Now only half the corn's done and you're giving me attitude? Don't want me back. He grumbled, climbing onto the tractor beside me. The passenger seat is mine. He looked smugly at his bodyguards piling onto the back. I drove the tractor bumpily forward. There was no real passenger seat, no seatbelt, just one long bench. Any spot you squeezed onto was a passenger seat. We instantly filled the small-town noodle shop. The trembling owner served bowls, face pale. Anyone would think we were shaking her down. Samuel picked out scallions disdainfully, asking, "When are you returning to the capital?" I stirred my noodles. Not going back for now. Samuel froze, slowly putting his chopsticks down. What do you mean? I slurped some noodles. Exactly that. City life's too deep. I'm going back to the country roots. That call wasn't about getting back together. I wanted to borrow your bodyguards. You know. I sighed. Here we bury our kin in our own fields. The cornfield you stood on today holds my parents and ancestors. A bodyguard nearby sneezed, eating faster. Samuel stared at me intensely. Grandma and Grandpa won't give up the land. I can't leave them. Someone has to work it. Hiring locals is impossible. They laugh, say I've gone city crazy hiring help for such a small plot. I shrugged. I'll pay market rate. You won't need to come every harvest. I'll cover their travel and board. Screech. His chair scraped loudly. Samuel's chest heaved, jaw clenched tight. Go husk your own corn, you idiot. Watching his furious exit, I didn't chase him. The bodyguards exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to follow. After finishing my noodles, I led the anxious group out. Seeing their master back on the tractor, they visibly relaxed. Samuel sat in his passenger seat, stubbornly looking away. The tractor jolted violently. Samuel finally snapped. Judy, you're doing this on purpose? Aiming for every mud puddle. I shook my head innocently. Country roads were just like that here. Samuel ate little breakfast, husked corn all morning, skipped lunch in anger. His mood now toxic. I'm carsick. I'll puke all over this thing. See how you return it. He clearly thought this was his luxury car, hard to clean. I just hose it down. Good as new. Samuel hadn't eaten. Grandma and Grandpa were napping, so I went to cook him noodles. Samuel was in the yard, locked in battle with a chicken. Every year he visited, our rooster attacked him. Watching the chaotic chase, I put 2 eggs in his bowl. This was our 3rd year together. Breaking up, making up, over and over. We met at a company gala. He was my boss's friend. My drunk boss asked me, an intern, to drive. I bumped into Samuel's car the moment I started. 3 years together, he treated me well but never introduced me to family or friends. Colleagues whispered the class gap was too wide. I couldn't tell if Samuel was serious. But every time I suggested breaking up, he agreed. Every time I suggested getting back, he kissed me eagerly. Like being together was fine, apart was fine too. This was the 3rd month after our 10th breakup. Family corn ripened. I took leave, not expecting Samuel to follow. 20 minutes prior, his social media showed him partying at a Capitol bar. Minutes after my message, he arrived with bodyguards to husk corn. I wasn't stupid. He'd likely been staying in town. That run-down hotel. How long had this spoiled young master endured? I planned to ask him tonight. Some things needed moonlight to be clear. I brought the noodles out. Samuel was talking to someone back turned. Seeing me, the person peeked out. My face instantly darkened. Judy, your boyfriend's here and you don't host properly? Could have brought him to us. I shoved the bowl at Samuel, staring coldly. Why is Uncle 2 here without napping? Our affairs are none of your concern. Samuel held the bowl, reaching for his pocket. His habit of impulsively handing out cash needed fixing. He pulled out a red envelope, prepared when, and tried shoving it at Uncle 2. Your Uncle 2? Thank you for looking after Grandma and Grandpa while Judy and I were away. Uncle 2's eyes lit up at the thick envelope. He reached greedily. Judy, your boyfriend knows respect. Honors his elders. I snatched the envelope back, glaring at Samuel, stuffing it into his pocket. He's not my boyfriend. We broke up. Uncle, an adult begging gifts from kids? Uncle 2's face twisted. He forced a stiff smile. He muttered, "This girl." Before leaving. Turning back, I saw Samuel had set the bowl down. Not tasty. I frowned. Samuel looked unnaturally pale, eyes reddened. Fine, not the boyfriend. No need to be so harsh. Judy, you'll regret this. Watching his furious exit, I was baffled. Mad because I told that jerk he wasn't my boyfriend? I didn't get him, but seeing the bodyguards lounging under the tree follow Samuel out, I sighed. Maybe leaving was best. I shouldn't have called. Exhausted from husking, sun-addled, not thinking straight. I went inside. Grandma napped. Grandpa mumbled to himself. I picked up the abandoned bowl and ate. No point wasting food. But I finished it, never finding the 2 eggs I'd added. I almost laughed. Samuel, that idiot, ate the eggs but left the noodles. Grandpa shoved a thick red envelope into my hand, dancing happily. Judy, lucky money. I stared, identical to Samuel's, but this one bulged, nearly bursting. My heart ached. I'd planned to ask Samuel tonight if he truly wanted a future. But the leading man fled. Busy farmers have little time for romance. I napped briefly, then headed back to the field. But arriving, I froze. The vast cornfield stood cleared, ears neatly piled, stalks bundled. Only the tractor remained. Uncle 2 stood on his plot, yelling pointedly. Little fox spirit knows how to charm. Didn't even feed them lunch. Got them to finish the work. I had no energy to argue. My heart burned, eyes stinging. The answer I'd craved but Samuel withheld felt clear now. I called Samuel. Hearing the tone, my heart sank completely. Samuel had blocked me. His last message read, Judy, if you don't want my love, taste my hate. I sighed. Judy, feeling down? Grandma husked corn beside me, glancing over. Grandpa sneakily fed freshly shucked kernels to chickens, also looking my way. I sped up husking. Corn soup tonight. Grandma pressed her lips, looking toward the gate. Samuel left. Judy, maybe you should go back. Thick or thin soup, Grandma? I cut her off, heading to the kitchen. She sighed, dropping it. I slept early, emptying my mind of unnecessary thoughts. Until Grandma frantically knocked. Grandpa's gone. My breath hitched. Grandpa had Alzheimer's. Late at night, where could he be? No village cameras. Grandma and I grabbed flashlights, searching country paths. Neighbors heard, joining gradually. When did Grandpa leave? I asked Grandma. Grandma sweated with worry. Just went to the bathroom. How'd he vanish? He couldn't be far, I exhaled. If not in the village, check the woods. I swept my flashlight beam toward the trees. After a few steps, rustling sounded nearby. I ran toward the noise. A blood-curdling scream froze me. My heart skipped a beat. The voice sounded oddly familiar. Before I processed, Grandpa's voice chimed. Father's father is called Grandpa. I mentally face-bombed. Ahead, Samuel carried Grandpa on his back, stumbling toward me. Samuel looked terrible, eyes wide with terror, relief flooding his face when he saw me. Why are you here? I frowned. Samuel rushed over, grabbing my arm. Out first. He held Grandpa's bottom with one hand, pulled me with the other. Forest wind brushed my cheeks, whispered past my ears. Staring at the tall man's dark hair, my heart felt tangled. Grandpa jostled violently on Samuel's back. Exiting the woods, I yanked Samuel's arm. "Slow down. You'll shake Grandpa sick." Samuel stopped, casting a fearful glance back, lowering Grandpa gently. "Grandpa okay?" I patted his back urgently. Grandpa hunched over, gagging. "Best dollar spent. That rocking horse packs a punch." My eye twitched. Why sneak out to the woods? Then I saw what he clutched. Grandpa held a small jar with 4 or 5 fireflies. Judy sad. Grandpa cheered Judy. I turned away, hiding threatening tears. As a child, when I sulked over meals, Grandpa caught fireflies. Samuel stood before me. "Judy, why upset?" "Because of me," he asked carefully. Moonlight crept through branches. I took a deep breath. "Yes, all my joy and sorrow comes from." My words cut off as Samuel crumpled to the ground. Panic surged. Grandpa pointed excitedly at Samuel's pants leg. "Snake bite me. Rocking horse carry me. Rocking horse get bit." My eyes widened. A small snake coiled around Samuel's ankle. I nearly fainted. Luckily, Grandma and help arrived. The village doctor removed the snake, examining it closely. "Fine. Not venomous. Just knocks you out. Sleep it off." Relief washed over me. I helped Samuel to my bed. Grandma watched, hesitant. That boy saved Grandpa, carrying him out not knowing about the snake. Reliable. Grandma sees you like him. He clearly likes you too. Talk it out. She led Grandpa away. I sat beside Samuel, chin propped on my hand. His brow furrowed, nose straight. I reached out, gently smoothing the crease. I didn't know why he was in those woods at night, but I knew it was for me. Samuel's right fist stayed clenched. I tried prying it open, something inside. I expected resistance. Unconscious people don't yield. But as my hand touched his, Samuel's palm opened instantly, like his brow, relaxing at my touch. A faintly glowing firefly drifted from his hand. My nose stung. I slid my hand into his, whispering by his ear. "Samuel, let's get back together when you wake up, okay?" I woke to scorching heat on my palm. Opening my eyes, I met deep watching eyes. Caught off guard, Samuel looked away, flustered. Amused by his reddening ears, I leaned closer. "Samuel, why were you in our woods last night?" He scoffed. "Walk. Moon." I knew that'd be his answer. Young Master Samuel. Always walking. From the capital to a village, from a hotel to my woods. I nodded. Must be nice, so free. He glared. "Judy, you wounded a man's heart." I stifled a laugh. "What now?" He stared at my lips, swallowing. "What do you think?" I leaned in. Samuel closed his eyes, breath growing hotter. "Cock-a-doodle-doo." The rooster crowed loudly outside. I shoved Samuel away. Grandma kicked the door open. First rooster crow meant Grandma's work signal. She yelled from the yard. "Judy awake? Corn soup." Her steps faded toward the kitchen. Samuel still sulked. "What were you leaning in for?" I smiled. "Reconciliation." His grin nearly split his face, instantly suppressed, face stern. "Considering it." I rested my chin on my hand. "How long?" "I accept, but..." The courtyard gate crashed open again. Eve walked in, shirtless. He held 2 eggs. "Judy, working late last night. Couldn't help." "Grandpa found." Samuel's face turned thunderous. Seeing Eve bare chest, he covered my eyes. "Entering shirtless?" "Green tea jerk." Eve scratched his head awkwardly. "Just back from the field." I nodded, explaining to Samuel. "Some farmers start early to beat the heat. Rural guys often." Samuel fumed, teeth gritted. "Reconciliation? Forget it." "Judy, siding with another man." "Reunion? No way." I sighed. Another chance to talk ruined. Samuel the powder keg exploded again. Sighing, I followed Eve out. "Grandpa sleeping. Keep the eggs." Eve nodded. Embarrassed. "Judy, your friend dislike me?" I glanced back at the sulking Samuel, smiling faintly. "He's my boyfriend." Eve paused, nodded, eggs in hand. Returning, Samuel was up. Ignoring me, he passed by, picked up a bowl of corn kernels, and started feeding chickens. Seemed diligent. Samuel. Really no reunion? I ventured. He glared. No. Say reunion. Get reunion? Where's my pride? Run off? Stare at other men? Judy, heartless. Cheating. Unreasonable. You. He ran out of steam, turned back to chickens. Move. Blocking the chicken feed. I stood nearby, confused. Why feed chickens suddenly? Samuel raised an eyebrow. Just killing time, impressing Grandma. Eve brought eggs? He could feed chickens. Grandma peeked from the kitchen. Samuel awake? Samuel beamed, feeding faster, eager to impress. Morning, Grandma. Grandma's smile froze. Samuel. Why feed the chickens my soup corn? I gulped. Samuel's face shifted. I coughed. Tried telling you. Tender corn. For soup. Since Samuel fed Grandma's carefully shucked tender corn to chickens, our breakfast soup was watery. Grandpa pouted. He slurped soup, holding it out. Why water? Samuel clenched his jaw, storming out. Grandma and I exchanged looks, our yard connected to Eve's, corn piled separately. Eve, chastised by Samuel that morning, now wore a shirt, husking corn nearby. Samuel silently sat beside him, mimicking the motion, peeling husks. I finished my soup, heading toward them. Samuel clearly lacked practice. Sometimes, he tore the cob off with inner husks still clinging. Twice, he snapped the cob in half. But seeing me, he sped up. A masculine contest sparked. Eve worked lazily until Samuel sat beside him. The air crackled. Both men started tearing husks like demons possessed. Samuel, what are you doing? I crouched beside him. Samuel ignored me, working faster. Beside him, Eve's arms became a blur. I grabbed Samuel's corn. Samuel. He frowned. Annoyed, I interrupted. Helping Grandma husk. Eve raised an eyebrow, smirking. He had 3 more cobs done. I took a deep breath. But that's Eve's corn. Wrong pile. Silence. Samuel slowly turned, locking eyes with Eve. He spat. Why not say sooner? Schemer. Eve looked baffled. You sat down and started husking my corn. My head throbbed. These two acted like children. Come back. I tugged Samuel's hand. He sat back down. Under our stunned gazes, he shoved the husked tender corn back into loose husks. My eye twitched. Such pettiness. But spurred by Eve, Samuel husked most of our yard corn by noon. I frowned at his hands, heart aching. This young master probably never washed clothes, yet husked fiercely. His long fingers were reddened, looking almost. I swallowed. Life's unfair. Beautiful people are beautiful everywhere. Grandma, grateful for Samuel saving Grandpa and husking corn, insisted on stewing a goose from Eve's place. Grandma, careful. I expected refusal, but Samuel said, I'll catch it. Samuel followed Grandma determinedly to Eve's. Grandpa trailed, clapping, Catch chicken. Catch chicken. I wanted to see this rooster-fighting failure catch a goose. Eve offered to help catch the goose. Samuel shot him a look, smug. Grandma cooks for me. Your goose we pay. Just watch. No need. We eat goose. What you eating? He emphasized we. Eve just watched Samuel chase Poultry. I held my forehead. Grandma chuckled, winking at me. Samuel looks fit. Snake bit yesterday, should feel weak, see him bounce. Grandpa cheered. Faster. Faster. Almost got it. After chaos, Samuel held his prize like a lion with prey. He proudly showed it off, then paraded before Eve. See? 10 minutes. Easy. I cringed. Grandma looked awkward. Eve snorted. City boy can't tell goose from duck? Samuel froze. He looked at the duck. It stared back, quacking loudly. The goose Samuel chased earlier waddled up, biting his thigh hard. Eve grabbed the goose by the neck, handing it to Grandma. She went home for scales. Grandpa walked over, looked at Samuel's duck, then Eve's goose. Duck quack. Goose honk. City boy no. Samuel's face darkened further. Grandma stewed the goose for Samuel. She scalded, plucked feathers, and went into the kitchen. Samuel gritted his teeth, following. I grabbed him. Going where? Samuel looked wounded. You think I'm useless? Can't husk corn? Can't tell duck from goose? Not that. Our stove uses firewood. You can't help. Samuel's eyes lit up. I've used firewood. Let me impress Grandma. Seeing his eagerness, I didn't want to crush him. Uncle Tu walked into the yard, bowl in hand. Heard stewed goose. Family, Uncle Tu joins. I sneered. Uncle's nose sharper than a dog's. Uncle Tu's smile hardened. Your kid, always rude. Grandma wiped her hands. Voice cool. Our Judy's always been good, obedient. If someone finds her rude, maybe that someone's no good. Uncle Tu choked on anger. He waved his bowl like a weapon. Girl spoiled rotten. Probably cursed her parents dead. Won't curse you old. Grandma paled, lunging for his face. I held her back. Don't hurt yourself. Slapped Uncle Tu. Respected you as elder, but insulting Grandma and Grandpa? No mercy. We wrestled. Grandma banged Uncle Tu's head with his bowl. Thud thud thud, snapping me to sense. Grandma, you came out? Kitchen. I turned, eyes widening. Grandma shrieked. Fire! Fire! Darkness edged my vision. I sprinted toward the kitchen. Samuel pulled Grandpa out, both coughing. Grandpa's face was sooty, white hair singed black. Samuel's handsome face smeared with ash, filthy. He panted, avoiding my eyes. Turned to add water. Grandpa took fire from stove, put it on firewood. He looked miserable. Grandpa touched his frizzled hair, amazed. Judy! Young again. Hair black. Samuel glanced guiltily at me, then Grandpa's half-burnt hair, adding, Grandpa Benjamin Buttonangy. Grandma was speechless. Samuel felt terrible. I didn't know your kitchen burned so easily. I glared. Grandma patted his shoulder. Kitchen old. East side burnt before, never fixed. Rebuild it. We ate at Eve's. Eve put duck meat in my bowl. Our duck delicious. Judy. Try. He emphasized our. Samuel fumed, snatched the meat, chewing furiously. After lunch, Grandma and Eve discussed finding a mason to rebuild. Samuel stood aside, phone to ear. Before the mason arrived, Samuel's bodyguards appeared. They swiftly demolished the charred ruin, rebuilding a new kitchen, impressive speed. Samuel, how much you pay these bodyguards? Amazing. He smirked slightly, not answering. Grandma decided since no goose at noon, roast mutton for dinner. We kept sheep. She hired village men to butcher. No Samuel involved. Eve set up the roasting spit, expertly carving meat for Grandma and Grandpa. Samuel grabbed a knife, eager. I stopped him. Never done this. Why? He stared intensely. Judy, I can do better. Fast learner. Whatever he knows. I nodded. I know. Not needed. Samuel set the knife down, defeated. Judy. Am I useless? I shook my head, sitting beside him. The lamb sizzled. Grandma invited helpers to stay, filling the yard. No one noticed Samuel and me in the corner. Firelight flickering, I slipped my hand into his. Maybe you don't belong here, Samuel, but I never thought you less. You helped organize proposals, taught me office politics. This just isn't your field. Samuel watched me. He squeezed my hand. Judy, reunion? Ignoring the question, I asked, do you like me? Samuel panicked. Not like you? Why date? I decided honesty. Then why never introduce me to family? Friends. Samuel froze, gazing at the laughing villagers. Judy, I have no family. No friends. The me you see is all of me. I was stunned. He'd never shared this. Mom died having me. Dad followed soon after. Grandpa held on till I could run the company. Then left. Only the old butler remains. I didn't know how to respond. Should have asked earlier, but seeing his pain, I regretted asking. I leaned my head on his shoulder. Then, my family becomes yours. Okay. Samuel gripped my hand tightly. Okay. Samuel and I got back together. But now we faced a more serious issue. A long-distance relationship. Grandma and Grandpa refused to leave their cornfield, chickens, and sheep. They wouldn't move to the capital with me. I couldn't just abandon them in the village. Grandpa hadn't seemed so frail last time I visited. I truly feared I might not see him again. Samuel immediately declared he would stay here too. I rejected the idea almost instantly. He wasn't like me. He couldn't just quit his job and walk away. He had a massive company to run, supporting hundreds of employees. Yet he insisted on staying in this tiny mountain village. I'll visit occasionally. We can meet on weekends, I coaxed him. But he refused absolutely. So our conflict shifted from reconciliation to the distance dilemma. After another fruitless argument, Samuel was determined to prove his worth. He grabbed the leads of our 3 sheep and marched out. I'm taking them to pasture today. I'll show you I'm useful. My head throbbed with frustration. I never said you're useless here. I meant you have more important responsibilities. He stopped, lambs nudged his legs, but he ignored them, eyes reddening as he looked at me. Judy, nothing is more important than you. Watching Samuel's innocent figure leading the sheep away, I felt utterly helpless. What do you do when your boyfriend is hopelessly devoted? I followed him secretly, too worried to stay put. Samuel led the 3 sheep uphill, humming a tune until he reached a lush grassy slope. He began glancing around furtively. I frowned deeper behind my tree, puzzled by his suspicious behavior. What was he planning? The next moment, Samuel pulled several folded A4 papers from his pocket. He carefully unfolded them and sat down beside the grazing sheep, frowning at the documents. I felt both exasperated and amused. Clearly, urgent company matters and pending contracts awaited him. Yet here he was, tending sheep. As I watched him lost in thought, Samuel suddenly sprang up. Stupid sheep. Let go. My eyes widened. Our most stubborn ram had grazed a patch bare and started headbutting Samuel's leg, demanding fresh pasture. Samuel, engrossed in the contracts, hadn't noticed a thing. Angered, the ram snatched the contract papers right out of his hands and began chewing. Samuel desperately tried to pull the contract free, retrieving only half before frantically trying to pry open the ram's mouth. I took a deep breath, witnessing this absurd scene. See, he doesn't belong here. I rose to step out and help Samuel retrieve the contract. But the next instant, the ram charged straight into Samuel, sending him tumbling down the slope. Samuel! I screamed, eyes wide with horror. Clutching half the torn contract, he rolled head over heels down the hill. I chased after him like a madwoman. I'd forgotten to warn him our sheep headbutt strangers. Only when the doctor confirmed a mild concussion, nothing serious, did I finally breathe easy. Samuel remained unconscious, leaving me utterly flustered. I had no idea how to persuade him to return to the city when he woke. Then the phone rang. Grandma's voice came through, choked with sobs. Judy! Grandpa! He's drowned. I nearly dropped the phone, sprinting towards home like a madwoman. The city hospital was far from our village. I rode the bumpy bus, tears streaming down my face in panic. I didn't know how to balance love and family perfectly. Trying to manage both sides, I seemed to be failing at everything. I rushed home to find Grandpa shaken but otherwise unharmed. Grandma, eyes red and swollen, stayed glued to his bedside. That's when I learned Uncle Tu was behind it. Uncle Tu wasn't Grandma and Grandpa's actual son, only a distant relative. He took advantage of my absence to bully them relentlessly. Holding a grudge this time, he tricked Grandpa into going river fishing. Grandpa, always eager for fun and unable to judge right from wrong due to his illness, excitedly followed. Uncle Tu then deliberately led him into deep water, nearly costing Grandpa his life. I grabbed the kitchen cleaver, ready to confront him. Grandma clutched my arm, tears and snot mingling on her face. Judy. Once Grandpa wakes, we'll go to the capital with you. I froze, lowering the cleaver. What? She wiped her tears, sitting beside Grandpa. Samuel talked to us. I always thought you should live your life. We were fine staying put in the village, and moving to the capital would just burden you. But Samuel spent these days telling us we old folks aren't a burden at all. We're your strength. Grandma held Grandpa's hand, her gaze gentle. It's the first time I've heard such a thing. He said if he ever dared bully you, we'd be here to protect you, though anyone can see how smitten he is. He'd never dare. He was really speaking for you, dear. Yesterday, Grandpa and I decided, we'll go with you, so our Judy won't be torn anymore. Samuel even found a specialized care facility for Grandpa in the capital, saying it would help his condition. He was afraid to tell you, worried you'd be angry. I collapsed into Grandma's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Grandpa stirred awake, his aged hand patting my arm weakly. Judy, don't cry, our Judy is the best. My tears only flowed harder. I never knew Samuel had been persuading my grandparents behind the scenes all along. He hadn't demanded I accompany him to the capital. He was finding his own way to stay by my side. Suddenly, my phone rang, the call connecting automatically. Samuel's voice came through, weak and strained. Judy, you ran off again, didn't you? Panic surged. I'd forgotten Samuel was still hospitalized. No, His voice grew lower, tinged with hurt. Judy, you always do this, carelessly casting me aside. Are we? I don't want to break up. Samuel. My voice shot up sharply. Samuel gave a soft chuckle on the other end. Breaking up is the last thing I want, Judy. Can we get married? I was utterly stunned. His voice thickened with emotion. I'm scared. If you want to stay in the village, then stay. But Judy, you have to give me commitment, make that Eve guy or whoever back off. Once we're married, checking out someone else's abs counts as cheating, as betrayal. It deserves moral condemnation. Judy, give me some security, please, you always leave me. My heart felt like it was soaking in sour water, swollen, stuffy, and achingly warm. No. Samuel sighed faintly on the line, as if expecting this answer. I laughed through my tears. Who proposes like this? At least make it formal. Amidst heavy breathing, I heard Samuel declare. You wait. I'm coming right now. A nurse's furious shout echoed behind him. Sir, you cannot move yet. I took a deep breath. Samuel, stay in bed. Your head. Samuel's voice sounded pitifully small. But I want to see you now. I looked at Grandma and Grandpa packing their bags. This time you wait. I'm coming to see you. Grandma and Grandpa sold all the chickens and sheep to Eve at a low price. Many villagers came to see us off warmly. Grandpa patted Eve's arm. Arya, tell your dad to stop wetting the bed. He then patted Auntie Nyo's shoulder. Little bear, is your great-great-grandmother about to give birth again? The crowd, initially reluctant to part, looked utterly exasperated after Grandpa addressed each of them this way and promptly dispersed. My final act before leaving the village was visiting Uncle Two's house. Samuel's bodyguards had his home completely surrounded. I smiled coldly at him. Uncle Two, did you ever watch Legal Report like I told you? Uncle Two paled, stammering nervously. Judy, what are you planning? I grinned. Good thing you didn't. You were right, Uncle. We really are gangsters. I clapped my hands. Samuel's bodyguards swarmed forward instantly. Doors were ripped off hinges. Pots were smashed. One bodyguard even dismantled Uncle Two's bed and shattered his window. Another, armed with firecrackers, charged into Uncle Two's pit latrine. Time to learn what shit hitting the fan really means, he declared. Uncle Two collapsed to the ground. He scrambled towards the kitchen, only to find his storeroom already demolished. He dashed to the storeroom, only to see his latrine exploded, sewage everywhere. He ran to the latrine, only to find his courtyard gate completely torn down. He sat amidst the ruins, wailing. You gangsters! I'm calling the police! Samuel crouched down, looming over him menacingly. Call them? Then I'll tell them about your attempted murder tricking our elderly relative into deep water. Understand now, you ignorant bumpkin? Uncle Two was left utterly defeated, without even the strength to cry. Samuel stood up, taking my hand as we walked away. Who did the cornfield go to? I frowned slightly. Not given. Lease to Eve. Grandma, Grandpa, and I will be buried there someday. Samuel nodded. Then save a plot for me too beside yours. Judy, after husking your corn for years? Your family plot owes me a spot.